Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There is a moment in every chosen life where the story flips, not in private, but in full view of those who thought they had you figured out. And that's exactly where you are. You've been showing up quietly, doing the work no one even understand, carrying what others couldn't even name. And now, heaven has decided it's time the curtain comes up. This next season isn't about being hidden. It's about being announced. Not with ego, not with drama, but with undeniable evidence. Because while people were watching the surface, God was building something they could never predict underneath it. And now, the fruit is showing. This isn't just about reward. It's about redemption in real time. You didn't build your life in public. You built it in moments nobody saw. The nights you chose integrity over instant gain. The mornings you got up even when the grief made your bones feel like cement. The conversations you walked away from, not because you were scared, but because you knew you were made for more than cheap chaos. You've been faithful in the invisible. And now, the visible is catching up. You didn't ask for a spotlight, but the light is coming anyway, because your obedience can no longer be ignored. There's a different kind of glow on a person who didn't rush to prove themselves. A weight, a calm, a frequency that says, I've already been approved somewhere higher. And that's what's confusing people now, because you didn't network your way into this. You didn't campaign for recognition. You didn't twist yourself into something more palatable. You just stayed true and stayed planted. And God saw every second of it. They saw someone average. God saw a vessel. They saw someone behind. God saw someone becoming. And now the two timelines, what people saw and what God knew, are about to collide in public. Your name is entering rooms you've never stepped into. And not because of visibility, because of credibility, spiritual credibility, soul maturity, legacy-level resilience. You didn't get here by being charming, you got here by being chosen. And no algorithm can explain that. God isn't trying to pay you back. God is revealing what was never lost, just growing under pressure. This next breakthrough? It's not just a reward, it's a reveal. A reveal of everything you planted while people underestimated you. A reveal of every assignment you carried with no one cheering. A reveal of the substance behind your silence. Because people thought your silence was absence, but it was actually alignment. Now, everything that once looked still will begin to move, but not in a chaotic, rushed way, in a way that says, this has been earned. And heaven agrees. You didn't manipulate your way here, so they can't explain how you made it. You didn't chase a platform, so they can't take credit for your rise. You didn't run ahead of divine timing, so the arrival will feel undeniable. Get ready for the strange reversal. People who once had power over your name will now have to watch it rise, without their permission. And you won't need to say a word. Because the elevation will speak louder than anything you could post, prove, or explain. This is a public moment, but it's not for public approval. It's for God's demonstration. So take a breath. You're not late or behind. You're not being overlooked. You're being revealed. And when it happens, it'll be so clear that even those who didn't believe in you will wonder how they missed what was in front of them all along. Stay ready. Because God is about to reward you in public. Not for attention, but as a sign. A sign that heaven has eyes. A sign that integrity is seen. A sign that you were always qualified. You were just waiting for the reveal, and now it begins. Let them talk, because they will. The moment heaven starts putting evidence behind your obedience, people start reaching for explanations that make them feel safe again. But the truth is, they can't explain this. Not because it's too mysterious, but because it was never theirs to recognize in the first place. God didn't loop them in. And now they're witnessing a rise they didn't co-sign. That's what unsettles them. Because while they were preoccupied measuring fruit, God was cultivating your roots. You weren't growing outward. You were growing downward. Getting steady, getting strong, getting undistracted. And now, that hidden system is producing visible evidence. Not because you strategized, but because you surrendered. You didn't hustle your way into this moment. You held your peace when it would have been easier to pop off. You gave when you were empty. You served when you were unseen. You loved people who didn't even think you were worth a proper goodbye. And through all of it, you stayed close to the whisper. So what's happening now? The whisper is becoming a wave. And the wave, it's carrying your name further than anything you could have forced by your own strength. This is the kind of reward that comes from soul integrity. Not perfection, alignment. Not presentation, substance. This next chapter isn't about being discovered. It's about being confirmed. Confirmed in the presence of people who quietly questioned your process. Confirmed without the need to clap back or prove them wrong. Confirmed in a way that even they have to say, this has to be God, because it is. This is not a promotional moment, it's a prophetic one, and prophetic moments carry weight. Not just attention, weight. The kind that makes you walk different, think different, choose different. Because once you've been trusted with divine visibility, you stop seeking validation from temporary spaces. You no longer bend to be tolerated. You no longer over-explain what God already made clear. And here's what they don't understand. God didn't just trust you to survive the hidden season. He trusted you not to change in it. He trusted that you'd stay kind when bitterness came knocking, that you'd stay anchored when the current of comparison pulled strong, that you wouldn't sell your soul for quicker progress. And now, the reward isn't just access, it's authority. Not the kind that screams, the kind that speaks once and shifts the atmosphere, the kind that turns rooms you walk into altars. Because people can feel what you've carried, what you've endured, what you refuse to give up on, and no one has to understand it for it to be yours. This isn't a group vote, it's a divine verdict. You were approved where it mattered most, not in their conversations, but in God's decision. And the thing about God's decisions? They manifest publicly what He saw privately. So yes, this reward is going to be visible. It will be felt. Not just by you, but by everyone who watched your process and didn't think it would amount to anything. This is the kind of reward that answers questions you didn't even get to ask out loud. It answers, was it worth it? Did anyone see? Did God really tell me to stay when I wanted to run? Was that yes really for something? Yes. All of it. Every hard choice, every quiet act of faith, every sacred number, every soft heart you kept when the world said harden up. God saw it, and now God is saying, it's time they see it too. But not just for your vindication, for their inspiration, because someone else is watching, and they're wondering if integrity still matters, if purity still has a place, if walking slow with God is still worth it in a world that rewards speed over substance. And when they see you rise, they'll believe again. That's the reward too. You're not just being elevated, you're becoming evidence. That obedience opens doors no algorithm can. That spiritual alignment creates results no resume explains. That what you carry isn't hype, it's holy. So when you walk forward now, walk with the knowledge. You're not just being seen, you're being entrusted again. Not because you're louder, but because you're real. Not because you're perfect, but because you stayed. And heaven always honors those who stayed. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.